Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Check out what I have to show you today. It is a toothpick on the channel. It's been a while since we had a toothpick on here to play with. So we're going to do some show, fly, and tell on the channel today, and we're going to just briefly introduce this quad to you. It is right now on the Bango website around $99. It does not come with a battery in the box. Mine didn't, at least. But I'm going to run it today on a 2S450. This is an 80C all-line battery. These are working out great for me. It hasn't started to swell yet at all, so they're performing pretty well, and that's the one I'm going to recommend for this particular Whoop, or this particular toothpick. It's confusing because it says Whoop on the case, but this is not a Whoop, guys. This is actually a toothpick, which is kind of funny. Geelang knows the difference. I'm not sure why they're calling it a Whoop, but it does come with a variety of different receiver options for it. You can get the AC900, which I do not recommend at all. It will kind of fail safe pretty quick on you, about a football field away. There is the non-EU FrSky XM Plus, or the EU version. Non-EU would be US, EU version obviously would be over in Europe, and that XM Plus will go about a mile out. Extremely good receiver if you have Taranis radio. DSMX for Spectrum guys, FlySky, FrSky, D8, which is the one I have on here with diversity antenna sticking off the top. Looks like a little bug there. And we have TBS and PMP available. So you can solder up your own receiver to this flight controller. And it is a F4 flight controller in here running 5 amp 4-in-1 ESCs and those classic 0802 motors. We'll talk about all the specs on here a little bit after we come back from the flight test, but this baby is all wired up pretty much and ready to go. You will have to do a little bit of beta flight setup on it before you get out and fly it, but without further ado, let's have some fun on 2S. And I forgot how much fun a little toothpick is on 2S, and we should get about 4.5 minutes flight time if we're just cruising, 3.5 minutes if we're really full throttle doing some crazy freestyle with the Insta360 Go in there. So let's go ahead outside now. Let's have some fun with the Wasp V2. This is going to be a lot of fun. Here we go. All right, my friends, welcome back from that fun and really high adrenaline flight. I love flying these, and if you've never owned a toothpick before, I have to tell you, like, it's a lot of fun because they're super lightweight. I mean, 39.9 grams without the Insta360, and if you're not flying that, I'll just go ahead and put this 450 battery on there. 2S 450, your total takeoff weight is 67.7 grams. That's really awesome. So very lightweight, and I feel like toothpicks are as fun as a 5-inch, in my opinion. Sometimes they really are, because they're just less to worry about crashing, and it's just so much more portable. Now I'm going to put this in the mount up here, and it tends to turn on every time you do that, but just going to hold it, turn it off real quick, just so we can get a weight on here. And let's see what the weight with the addition of that on there is, and it looks like we're right at like 86 grams on the dot right there. Just going to turn it a little more so you can see it. 86 grams total takeoff weight, so even under 100 grams with an Insta360 Go on there, shooting 1080p. It's stabilized EIS video, which is really fantastic. You have LEDs down the side, and these were already wired up, and they came out the top with zip ties just like we do traditionally, and they already had heat shrink around them, so that was cool. It was already set up, ready to go. I just had to get in there and bind up on D8. So I would recommend getting the XM Plus version. You're going to bind that one up in D16, and that's just going to give you maybe even a little bit better range than this little D8 receiver. So D8 just will not quite get you quite as much range. So that is the battery that I'm going to recommend too. It's the All-Line 450. That one's performing really well. So this little quad itself, like it says on the website that you guys get an extra frame in the box, but I didn't get one. However, I think it looks pretty thick as far as top to bottom. They are thinner from the inside of the arm down to the center of the frame. That's the only, probably the most weakest point of this particular frame. Otherwise, it's thicker than any other Toothpick frame that I've seen in the market. So it does have 3-bolt configuration on the bottom of the motors, and the kV on the motors appear to be 14,000 kV, GL0802, and you can also run these on 1S. So if you guys are looking to do this as a beginner setup, you can start out on a 1S battery. They do make some 1S batteries with the XT30 connector, and I'll put a link down below for you guys to grab those, and then you can upgrade to 2S later. Now what was also interesting is that my receiver was underneath the flight controller with 2 screws here that release, and there's a carbon plate. So this is something I've never seen before on this type of Toothpick design either, is a release plate to get to the RX, which makes it really convenient. You don't have to take the whole stack off to get to the RX underneath the bottom plate, which is really kind of cool. They kind of made a cutout space underneath the frame for it. You also have replaceable plug and play motors, and they're color labeled. So if you blow out a motor, you can just plug in a new one. No soldering needed there. And up above the flight controller, this is the F4 Play flight controller, by the way, and you have LED strips on both sides that are actually pretty cool looking. I'll plug in a battery and show you guys that they're kind of like rainbow colors. They should light up on both sides. They're actually kind of strobing, which is kind of cool. And you can change those inside Betaflight as well. We've got 200 milliwatt VTX just above the flight controller as well, coming up with a dipole antenna. And it is smart audio enabled, but it didn't come set up, so you'd have to set that up in Betaflight. And that antenna is actually connected by a UFL connector, so if you guys ever decide you want to upgrade that, just pop that one off and put your new one on. And there's plenty of room coming out the back of the canopy for that as well. But also nice that they used a zip tie here. This is heat shrinked already, and it's standing up off the back of the quad out of the way of the props. And the Gym Fan 65mm props are pretty popular. I'll put some of those down below for you as well. And we have a CMOS camera on this one. This is the GL950 Pro. It's a 1/4 CMOS sensor camera, 800 TVL. So this power input on that camera is 5 to 12 volt, by the way. So don't run it over 12 volt, you'll fry it. But it seemed like a decent camera, and honestly I think it flies better without the extra addition of the 35 gram Insta360 Go on top. I think if you can get away without flying it with this on there, it'll fly even better. But I didn't notice it a whole lot in the high end of the throttle, because even on 2S it had a really nice punch out, and I was able to kind of do flips and rolls and stuff over top of the trees like I regularly would. But even though I didn't suffer a lot of performance, again, if I'm going to be totally purist about it, I would say that it will perform better if you take this whole rig off the top and just fly it with the analog camera on there. And also in the box, you're supposed to be able to get another top plate. So a black one's supposed to come with it as well. And these cases are pretty nice. I think they're a little nicer than Emax's cases. The kind of fabric line on the inside, sort of faux leather type stuff on the outside, carbon fiber look. And we have the extra strap here. And this is a Radio Master receiver layout for D8. They gave me that for some reason, but mine's actually the FR Sky D8 receiver. You get some extra props in the box as well, an extra rubber band for holding whatever battery you want to put on here, and they also have a 3M sticky pad for your battery. A little bit of cushion between the frame so you don't wear into your battery. And then you also get a diagram on here in this box as well, and this is your Play F4 flight controller wire diagram. So it has everything on here for all the different hookups for your VTX. We've got two types of VTXs that you can hook up, and you also have the buzzer camera and the other side for where the buzzer hooks up. You have XM Plus, Crossfire, Fly Sky for iBus, and then you have Spectrum receiver as well. So clearly labeled everything on here, and it's nice and big, so that's kind of nice from Geelang. It's not quite as nice and fancy as the one that came with the LEGO 78, but this will do the job if you guys are looking for the pinout on the flight controller, so it makes it a little bit easier. But I think the power system on here is decent, and having plug and play stuff on this one is really good. So I think it's way better than the original Wasp. So Wasp V2 on 2S, man, it made me forget how much fun 2S is. And if you're looking for a crazy powerful little Cinewhoop that is kind of like the bumper car of Cinewhoops, go back and watch this review because this one was really cool. And this one is able to run 4S, by the way. They included a 4S battery in the box, and I thought it was only 2 and 3S because the Banggood website said it was only 2 and 3S, but apparently it does run on 4. I tried it and it worked, so nothing went up in smoke. But thanks again for watching my reviews, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this one now, and if I don't see you until after Christmas, Merry Christmas, and please do leave some comments down below, and we'll try to answer any of your questions about LEGO 78, GoPro or Insta360 version, or the new Wasp V2 here. Pretty cool rig. This has really come a long way. In just a couple years, everything is totally changing. Technology is moving super fast, guys. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.